Hey syndicates, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today I want to give you a little bit of insight on how I became a full-time content creator when just a year ago I was working in the corporate world doing 9-to-5 office job shebang. So if you're interested in knowing what exactly I do as a content creator, how I was able to grow on TikTok to 1.2 million followers within just a couple of months, then keep on watching. Okay, let's start in 2019. And in April of 2019, I was just graduating from my master's and I was doing a Master of Art in Graphic Design. A mouthful, I know. I only got to that point because after graduating from college, I thought I would go into PR. Ended up not going into PR, went into graphic design. Then this major career shift made me realize how much I loved graphic design and designing for other people. So I went to get a master's. So 2 years later, here was 2019 graduating with this master's degree. So I also decided during that time when I didn't have a job yet, I was in the process of applying and interviewing, all that jazz, that I wanted to pursue content creation on the side. A side hustle felt like a really great way to ease myself into the idea of potentially being an influencer, but if it fails, it wouldn't really have that much of an impact on the rest of my life, particularly because it wasn't going to be a main source of income. So I started joining competitions, I started changing my mindset and overcoming a lot of imposter syndrome in order for me to really pursue content creation as something that I could do for a living. But then I did get a job, thankfully, and I moved to Silicon Valley and I was a senior visual designer for a unicorn tech startup here. And life was good for a year. However, as soon as the pandemic hit, things changed drastically. About July of 2020 or end of June, really, I lost my job. And I had a really critical decision to make. I could just continue going back to the corporate world and finding another job, doing exactly what I was doing from company to company to company, or I could really try to give myself 3 months to pursue content creation full-time. And at this point, I had some savings and I felt comfortable trying this out, but I wanted to give myself a time limit, and if nothing really came out of it, I would probably just go ahead and go back into the corporate world where I had most of my experience and also a master's degree. So it wasn't like I didn't have any other options, but it was just an idea that I never explored in a career path that I've always wanted to try that I really just didn't ever see myself being successful in because I was scared. So for the next 3 months, I painted my face. The first month, I didn't treat it as work. I just painted my face and produced a bunch of content, and I basically took that month to redirect my energy to my artwork. I was feeling really stressed out by the time I had left my company. Part of working for a startup is understanding that you're gonna have to wear a lot of hats, and oftentimes you may burn out because you're really overwhelmed by the amount of work that you have to do. At that point, I was kind of done with graphic design, and I really wanted to try switching up the way that I was approaching my career. I was doing graphic design full-time and content creation as a side hustle, but then I switched it around and decided to do freelance graphic design just to keep me afloat in case I couldn't make any money in the first couple months of being a content creator. And I really didn't have that big of a following, but I had a strategy on growing for both Instagram and TikTok, and all of a sudden things just exploded. Because I had painted my face for about 2 weeks straight, nonstop, I had about 2 months worth of content. And I'm telling you, like, I make about 10 videos per look and also do a photo shoot. And these were like full day productions to the point where I just had so much filler content. If I didn't post every single day, I probably would have had like 6 months worth of content by then. But I posted every single day, and then I started posting twice, maybe 3 times a day on TikTok and once a day on Instagram. And to this day, I have not stopped being consistent. Every single day I have posted on TikTok for 4 months straight, and some days I posted more than once. So it's been really crazy, and also for another 2 weeks, I went on lives every single day on top of everything that I had to do. While I was doing this, I started realizing that I had no mentorship about beauty influencing, how to manage brands. I felt very vulnerable because I feel like there was a lot of ways that people could have taken advantage of me if I didn't do my research properly, which is the reality for a lot of people who are trying to do this on their own. So I did reach out to a couple of influencers that I was aware of doing this full time. And we had a nice chat and basically started building a network of people that I would now consider my friends / coworkers, and they're all over the world. Everyone is kind of doing the same struggle where they're like constantly fighting with the algorithm because they don't really understand it, stuck in kind of like this constant hamster wheel of producing content and hoping that everything takes off. And I just wanted to be a lot more strategic, and I wanted to make sure that everything that I did was really intentional and I had full control over the results. So I started diving really deeply into social media marketing and figuring out everything that I could to optimize my content as a beauty content creator, and being really like analytical about successful influencers, what they were doing, and what not as successful influencers were doing, which is keeping them stuck. And out came this wonderful program called Breaking 10K that I started, and it is a private one-on-one coaching program that I now do, and I have 10 clients for my current launch, where I have weekly one-on-one hour-long sessions with each client to tailor a experience of telling them exactly what they're doing wrong that's keeping them from growing their account on Instagram in particular. So they have access to me as a mentor for 3 months because it's a 3-month program that I created, and I had planned about over 12 video lessons for them to watch every single week and make sure that they're able to implement and grow their account as they're producing new content that's optimized every single week. So it's a little bit of like an Instagram boot camp, and it's been so successful so far. We had a great run with our beta clients, and now we're on our full first official launch. So I can't wait until it gets to the point where there's going to be so many people within the network of Breaking 10Kers. But for now, we're starting really small, and it's been a really, really great experience being able to pretty much package everything that I know and share it with the people who I feel like really deserve and have the talent, but just don't know like how analytics work and how to really optimize per platform in order to be successful, because there's a lot of talented people out there, and it's not just about who's talented to stand out. It's really a strategic way of reaching out, being proactive, and understanding a little bit about how to best use these platforms to your advantage, considering none of us were early adopters on any of these apps. So we don't really have any way to fast track our success and our growth unless you talk to someone and a mentor who's been through it all and can kind of give that information away and answer all those questions, because I've gone through all of the struggles that my clients currently are going through. So that's kind of how I became a beauty influencer coach on top of being a full-time content creator. And so what my day-to-day kind of looks like is I have 1-hour calls for every single client. And so in a week, I have 10 hours of just calls. And during the times that I'm not on a call with them, I'm making sure that I analyze their profiles every single week and make sure that I have a list of things to tell them as action plans so that they can improve on their Instagram post week to week. And they know exactly what they're doing really great to keep doing and what they should be improving on immediately. That takes up a good chunk of my time. But in all the other hours that I'm not doing coaching related stuff or I'm not improving on the program, I'm also hopping on calls with my management team, with my virtual assistant, with my video editor, or I'm networking with other creators and other artists so that I can do collaborations, I can think of campaigns, and I'm pitching ideas for brands. And it's all very exciting, but it's a lot of admin work. So a lot of the times people kind of assume that I just paint my face every single day and it kind of looks like I'm not doing anything, but I film every single one of my videos by myself, including YouTube videos, TikTok videos, Instagram video, and take photos by myself. I edit all those photos by myself as well, and those will take me anywhere from 3 to 4 hours to sort through and color edit and also like retouch every single detail of it. And on top of that, I make sure that all my emails are being responded to because lots of things are happening. Brand campaigns are the biggest thing that has changed in terms of how I was able to monetize my content creation career. Those take a lot of time to curate, negotiate, implement, and there's dates and deadlines and lots of planning that goes into everything being a really successful campaign. And there's also follow-ups and research on brands and what new product releases are there, testing new products as well whenever they come out, and working with apps. So It's a lot of work. I would say that when my coaching program was in the process of being created, I was spending about 15 hours or more a day working. I would wake up at like 7 o'clock in the morning and I would put together a video or a photo shoot, and then I would spend maybe 3 or 4 hours while eating, editing those videos together. I'd make sure to post every single day at my peak hours for TikTok and Instagram, respond to comments, create sales funnels for my coaching program, respond to DMs on both platforms, respond to emails from my management team, and also make sure that everyone on my team knows what they're doing so that everyone is being optimized for most efficient growth. If you guys want to know more about my Breaking 10K program and you're interested in private one-on-one coaching, make sure to go to www.cindychendesigns.com for more information. And you can also DM me on Instagram if afterwards you still have questions. I want to go back to content creation and what exactly I do. A lot of planning is involved, like I mentioned. So I will be creating a lot of designs, and I have a list of ideas that I want to do. So I'll take a couple of ideas from that list, plan out my schedule for the next month. So I figure out exactly what content is going on that Monday, that Tuesday, that Wednesday, that Thursday, blah, 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 and which looks I'm going to be doing, which days are production, which days are editing, which days are admin work, and which days are my break days. And I will sketch out most of my looks, but then sometimes I'll do some challenges where things are completely improvised, and that makes for a really good video because I have no idea what I'm doing. I have maybe a simple prompt in my head and I'll just do it. So some of them will be just random things that I pick up and I want to try out on myself, and other things will just be a suggestion from a follower, a fan, or whoever comments and has a top liked comment on my TikTok. Something along those lines. So there's definitely a mix of both. So I'm never running out of ideas, but I do get my inspiration mostly from graphic design, fashion, couture, and I kind of merge those together. So I've become kind of known as like the avant-garde, maximalist, geometric artist who also combines like the power of high-end retouching and editing in order to create a really, really beautiful professional photo shoot in the comfort of your own home. Like, you really don't need super fancy studio equipment in order for you to be really successful. If anything, a lot of my early work is still pretty much the same caliber of what it is right now, and I was photographing things in the dorm room against a white wall in a tiny space with no backdrops. And I would use things like blankets to color my background, and I relied on using Photoshop and Lightroom to help me make my photo shoots more dynamic. So what is my job title right now? I think I would be able to categorize myself as an overall entrepreneur, but I would say specifically I am a full-time beauty content creator, which means I make content for social media. The videos that you see on TikTok, the videos and photos that you see on Instagram, the amount of time I spend writing my captions, going on my Instagram stories, providing content growth tips, me sitting right here doing this video to talk about my life and how I've come to this point versus where I was a year ago is part of the job of being a content creator. I've also produced some video content for brands, and I will work with brands to create advertisements that go on TikTok or other social media platforms. And I've also been featured in Snapchat or BuzzFeed. So stuff like that is just part of being a social media influencer, I guess. There's many different terms for that. So full-time content creator, beauty influencer coach, and freelance graphic designer. And my specialty with graphic design is rebranding startups and elevating their brand using their existing brand marketing values and characteristics. So I've been doing that for a while, but now I can brand myself, and it's very exciting because I never thought of having my own business and branding myself, but now I feel like the opportunities are endless and it's really exciting. I feel very creative, more so than I ever did before, and now I have kind of the time to allocate to being creative and being an artist. And the difference between a designer and an artist is that a designer designs things for other people, whereas an artist designs things for themselves. And so I'm able to finally be the artist that I always wanted to be. Another question that I get a lot is, how did I grow so fast on TikTok and Instagram? So a lot of this is answered in my one-on-one coaching program, but for TikTok specifically, I was posting 1 to 2 to 3 times a day for like 3 months straight. And I went from posting twice a day to once a day when I got really busy, but I would have enough content to go every single day, like clockwork. And for TikTok, there's no real intense strategy because you just constantly need to just throw stuff at it. But the content is the most important part. I figured out a way for me to create content that's really interesting, that's native to my brand, that is really wholesome, really shareable, really relatable, or really entertaining. So all of those are things that can potentially go viral and be a really great way to get people to come to your page as a destination for awesome, valuable content. And for Instagram, there's way more strategy that involves including hashtags, including captions, but also mostly focused on content. And after you get all that SEO stuff done, then your content just has to be really valuable to your audience. And I keep saying value, 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 and everyone's gonna say that. Any type of social media influencing coach will tell you that whatever you do, you need to have intent and value and have some sort of a relationship with your followers, or else there's no reason for them to stay and there's no reason for new people to come follow you unless you're bringing something that they really want to see on their feed every single day. So that's pretty much how I was able to kind of skyrocket my following. And the algorithms are kind of crazy where it doesn't matter how many followers you have to begin with, but anybody can go viral on TikTok, which is the insane part. So yeah, I think there was one particular video that went so viral that like I grew, I think 500,000 followers within 1 month. And that was the most insane part, to wake up every single day with 20,000 new followers, 20,000 new followers. And I was just like, this is so crazy that every single week I would get 100,000 followers and it would just keep climbing. But then at one point it started to plateau, and that happens, it's pretty natural. And with the algorithm changing and everything and your content needing to fully always be dynamic, there comes to be a point where sometimes the engagement will dip and you kind of have to pivot and figure out how to make your content even better. So another question I get is, how do I make money as a content creator? So I do a lot of work, and you see the videos, you see the photos, but obviously these apps are free. So how am I really making money? So the big one is brand sponsorships. Brand sponsorships mean that brands will come to you and pay you a certain amount of money for each ad campaign. It could be one post, it could be multiple posts, it could be videos or photos or content really that you're making for their accounts to post, or making content for your own account to post, and they're tapping into your audience. Other ways of making money include being on TikTok's Creator Fund. That is definitely something that I was able to have a part-time income from, just making videos and getting all the views counted and making a certain amount of money per view. And finally, things that I haven't done yet but other creators have, is you can make merch, you can have a Patreon, you can accept donations either from TikTok lives or directly on Venmo or Cash App or whatever. And I've seen a lot of people be really successful doing that. But I'm pretty new in my like full-time influencer content creator game, so I'm still taking it step by step, and I wanted to focus on my coaching as the main success for the 3 months of me doing nothing but planning and working really hard to the point of tears. And the last frequently asked question that I get is, how do I stay inspired all the time if I'm making content like pretty much every single day and also on a weekly basis for collabs, for brands, but also just for my own channels for fun? And I have no idea how I've been able to really come up with so many ideas all the time, but I think everybody has a different superpower. And I think for me, I definitely have always been collecting inspiration from random places. So I will build mood boards on my social media apps, but also in real life from magazines. So I've been really inspired by anything from interior design, fashion design, couture, graphic design. These are all of the major influences. But I also seek out the resources that will help me be inspired. So whether or not it's following traditional artists, painters, tattoo artists, or just walking around the city and like being inspired by a mural that I see, or a napkin from a restaurant that has an interesting design, or a tile from my travels that I bought in a gift shop. Sometimes just collecting things that spark joy in your life, make you feel more motivated and inspired, and I'll combine separate concepts together, pick different elements from each of those, string those together, and then I'll come up with an original idea from there. And that's kind of why I don't really do recreations, but I am inspired by other artists. I like to create twists of my own so that everything that I do is as original as possible. And my signature style would be the diamond frame look, where I do all of my designs, like the complicated designs on the outside, of the frame, and they're usually inspired by patterns, and I do more of like an editorial or runway look on the inside. And I created that style because I really wanted to find a way to incorporate my love of like geometric designs, maximalist designs, and also fashion runway designs. And I was thinking, like, if I could make the inside like a runway editorial and then the outside like super crazy, then I'm kind of hitting two birds with one stone. And that ended up becoming my signature style after doing it for like a year. So I do it for all my series, and it's been really awesome to see people like recreate it on their own with their own twists. If you have any questions about my life as a content creator, a beauty influencer coach, or a freelance graphic designer, then let me know in the comments below, and I'll try to answer them in my next video. Make sure you hit that thumbs up, hit the subscribe button, the notification bell, so you get notified for all of my next videos. And I will see you in the next one. Bye! Optimized, optimized, optimized. How many times am I going to say optimize in one video? I don't know. You tell me.